Aloha guys, Murphy here from Aloha Vanguard. And as you can see right now, you see the amazing Conroe. So you guys know what that means. There's going to be a Kagero deck profile. Well, didn't think that I was going to play Kageros. But ever since the pre-release on Seal Dragons, I've been pulling more Kagero cards than everything else. So this was like one out of the 3 decks I finish. But I mean, since I didn't play Kageros competitively, and there's all these new cards, I'm like always rebuilding this deck. I did like 6 to 7 different builds with it already. And out of all the ones I did, this one is like sort of kind of my favorite because of the results it gives me at the end. Which out of 3 games, I either lose one of them. So that's actually pretty good. Because, you know, yeah, I don't know. It's way better because it's like the other decks I made, it's like, oh, it's OP. You can restand 4 or 5 times. 4 to 5 times and win, but that's like if you get it. If not, you lose. So yeah, when I show you guys the deck, you'll see why I'm a little bit more comfortable with it. You may disagree on my card choices, but just kind of take into consideration as my luck sucks and the way that this deck runs kind of balances everything out. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna continue on with this deck profile. So you guys seen Conroe. You guys know what Conroe does. I'm not gonna say nothing about Conroe. You guys are just gonna look at him in the corner right there. Yeah. So since this is a Kagero deck, I made this deck all because of, well, this is one of the reasons why. Dauntless Drive Dragon. Now, I run him only at 3. Why not 4? I just think that having 4 was a little bit too much because I'll go Dauntless over Dauntless, then Dauntless again. So I don't mind it. It's just that I don't like minusing cards out of my hand. And if you guys don't know what Dauntless Drive Dragon does, and you're like, why are you minusing cards? It's because of his effect. So when you ride over ride over Dauntless Drive Dragon when you have 4 more damage, you get plus 10,000 power and an auto effect. If your Vanguard didn't get to stand that turn, you can discard 3 cards to restand him again, and you can attack once more with him. Pretty good, but you're minusing 3 cards. But then you're gaining 2 cards back, so it's like, oh, it's a discard 1. But, you know, I could use those 3 other cards that I threw away for shields or something, so, yeah. It's in whatever effect. It's not OP or anything, but to myself, I think, I want to use it to either gain the advantage or win. I don't want to use it for no apparent reason, because that's how you're going to lose the game. So you have to have a reason. If you don't have a reason to restand him, don't do it, because you're minusing cards out of your hand. And for the way that people play at my shop, they're pretty smart on knowing what to do, so that's another reason why I kind of play it safe. Next 3 cards, 3 Overlords. You guys know what Overlord does. He's just a really good rear guard. That's the reason why I played him. And then 3 Overlord the ends. Now, to be honest, this is like the original setup that I wanted to play. I wanted to play 3 of him, 3 of him, 3 of him. Just because of the, you know, it gives me the option to break ride or cross ride, or break ride one turn and cross ride the next turn, or play Overlord as my first grade 3, then put Dauntless there and then Overlord the end. It's a lot of work, but you know, I just like having fun with this deck, so sue me if it's too much work, but I like having fun with my decks, and I'm just trying to look for the fun for this one. But yeah, And oh yeah, the only reason why 3 Overlords because I didn't have a 4th one before. So like in my head when I was pulling Dauntless Drive Dragons was like, okay, since I only have 3 Overlord DNs, I want to run this lineup. But I got a 4th one, so I'm just kind of like, woohoo, happy. But, you know, it's alright. I'm just, you know, trying it now. So far, so good. Next is the grade 2 lineup. 4 Seal Dragon, 10Ks. Now, this is a Dauntless and Friends deck. So, you've seen the Overlords, now you're seeing Seal Dragons. So, I like this better than the Holland. And plus, he's a rare. Woohoo, yay. I only have the trial deck ones, so that's why I'm kind of like hyped about it. 4 Coteries. Now, he's a good slash bad card. Because his effect is counterblast a Seal Dragon card when he's placed on Vanguard or Rearguard. Retire one of your opponent's Rearguard units. But then your opponent gets to search the top 4 cards on their deck for grade 2. If there's a grade 2, they can superior call it to their Rearguard. Now this is a really bad matchup up against Royal Paladins, Gold Paladins, and Shadow Paladins because of their blaster units. When they get called to the Rearguard, you can counterblast to retire, so it's kind of like a ricochet for you. But it's fine. I mean, we do have Shadow Paladin players, we do have Gold Paladins, we do have Royal Paladins, but not a lot of them, so not really a big deal. But I also play these so I can kind of find a way to switch that around, but really it's not to use it up against them and just run 9k beaters. But yeah, I can lower the Coteries down, but I kind of like Coterie. He's a pretty cool card. Next is my Burning Horn Dragon. This is for Overlord, so if I have an Overlord Vanguard and this attacks, he becomes a 12k attacker, so it's really nice. And then 1 Velocity Dragon. Now I can put in another Velocity Dragon and take out a Coterie, and then that would just solve my problems right then and there. But yeah, you guys know what Velocity Dragon does. He flips your damage up when he hits a Vanguard, so that's pretty nice. Alright, moving on to the grade 1s. So I got my 4 perfect shields here. This is another reason why I'm playing with Kageros competitively and all that stuff, because I didn't have the good cards and I didn't have the perfect shields. And now I do, so yeah. And mostly everyone in our tournaments have a perfect shield, at least one. So that's a cool thing. So everyone is sort of around the same level. But yeah. And plus getting Bari over here was like really expensive, so it's not that bad now, but before it was just like Bari was like 30 bucks on Ideal 808. Now he's like 20, and now this is like cheaper, and I was pulling him much more faster, so that was nice. So I was like, okay, why not make a Kagero deck? I'm pulling all these Kagero cards, so yeah. And oh yeah, I got Kagero from Ideal 808 just cause. For Seal Dragon Flannels, he's your 10k Seal Dragon attacker. So if you have a Seal Dragon Vanguard, he becomes a 10k attacker. So that's another reason why I run a whole bunch of Seal Dragon cards. Actually, that's the only reason why. So that's why I have 4 Coteries, 4 10k attackers. So when I get into him, I can use him. But yeah, and I also can search him out with Conroll, which is really cool. But yeah. And then I got 3 Cursies. Now, I like did some on and off things about him. I would go like 3 of him or 2 of him and an Ermo and Gojo, or 2 Gojos or whatever. But I like him better than Gojo, and I like him better than Ermo, because it kind of gives you the option to like, oh, if you place him, you can discard and draw. You don't really need to if you don't want to. Same thing goes for Ermo and Gojo, but Ermo attack has to hit, and Gojo you have to rest him, so it's just like, okay, so attack doesn't need to hit, it's a 7k, and it's the same thing like Gojo and Ermo, so why is this not a really good card? So I don't like Ermo and I don't like Gojo because I usually deck out and lose because of those two cards. So, because I'm always drawing cards I don't need and throwing cards that I could have kept, you know what I'm saying? So, Cursey kind of gives me the option to discard and draw. So if I really need to do it, I'll do it. If not, it's okay. My deck's a little bit slower, but I'm not going through my cards too fast to the point where I deck out in late game. My last two cards are Heat Nail, Salamanders. Now, you guys know the reason why, because if it hits a Vanguard while it's being boosted, you can retire grade 1 and this returns back. So, yeah, pretty nice. Alright, so that's the grade 1 lineup. So the trigger lineup, a little bit weird. I'm just gonna say it without, and I'll tell you the reason why after. So I got 3 Seal Dragon stands. I got 3 Seal Dragon crits. 4 Seal Dragon draw triggers. 2 Gatling Claw Dragon draw triggers. And 4 Heal Dragon triggers, which are your Seal Dragons right there. So yeah, you see those? So yeah, we're not gonna talk about the heals. We're gonna talk about the 6 heals. I wish 6 draws just for, you know, that hand power because of Dauntless Drive Dragon's effect, and because I don't have Ermo and I don't have Gojo and Cursey's like the only one helping me out there. So I wanna get that draw power. Stand triggers, you know, the mix of stand and crits is just because I couldn't decide to either go all crit or all stand. All stand is pretty good, but I mean, you have to hit them every single turn. You gotta hit them 6 times. And probably more if they keep hitting heal triggers. So that's another reason why I don't like running an all stand trigger. It's like, oh, just attack multiple times with your Vanguards by restanding them. I don't want to rely on that because, you know, just liability reasons. It's just like you have to rely on it. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it does happen, then good for you. But, you know, so yeah, mixing the stands and criticals is no big deal. Sometimes I do draw into all my stands, or that's in one game, and then the next game I'll draw into all my criticals. So it's just like, oh, if I draw into all my criticals, it's just like, okay, I gotta think of what I have to do. But when I draw into all my stands, it's just like, okay, I can do an offensive play. As for stand triggers, it's like, okay, I can do an offensive play, but a different way. I gotta make sure I can do my multiple attacks. If not, then it's not working out for me. But, you know, you kind of see it, but whatever. But like I said, I'm not new to the Kagero clan, but I have been playing it competitively, so just messing around with the cards is kind of fun to me. Like I said, I did make 6 to 7 decks with these cards, along with the cards I have sided with my other Overlord, my other that's a spacer, like with all these other cards here, as you can see. Yeah, pretty much these are all my cards that I'm working with. So yeah, comment for suggestions, like if you like the video, and subscribe if you guys want to see more things Vanguards by me. Check out my other deck profiles, check out my card fight videos. Yeah, that's about it. And oh, if you guys have an Instagram, follow me on Instagram at aloha_Vanguard. So if you guys have a Instagram, check me out and all that stuff. I'll be posting more things Vanguard there. It's my more updated thing and all that. But yeah, well guys, thanks for watching. Happy card fightings, and see you guys next time. Aloha.